Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now July 8th of 2025, and given that the Meghan Markle fiasco over at Netflix is still very strong, it's still ongoing at this point between herself, Ted Sarandos, Greg Peters, the many executives and producers over there, along with the board, it's getting very ugly over at Netflix in the midst of the reshoots for With Love Meghan Season 2. However, one thing about Meghan Markle is that she recently got caught doing one of the worst things yet when it comes down to the overall Netflix situation, and it really goes to show you exactly what's been going on between herself and exactly how she knows nothing better to do than other acts of plagiarism or copying other people's work out there. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about Meghan Markle is that we already know that she got caught multiple times copying other individuals, programs, TV shows, whatever it may be, and the latest example, I think, is probably one of the worst examples so far, putting her into a more serious state by how the board, the executives, and everyone else are now viewing her, and it's creating a lot of chaos between Greg Peters and Ted Sarandos, right? The two CEOs over at Netflix. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, is because we already know that Meghan Markle is trying to hang on to whatever opportunity that she has that keeps her in Hollywood, that keeps her in the film industry, and basically a lot of studios are turning their back against her. They want nothing to do with her right from the get-go or at all, and Netflix is essentially the only studio as of now that is actually caught up with Meghan Markle's actual issues in live time, of course. Now, with the Meghan Markle drama only getting worse as time moves on during her time at Netflix, one major development going on now involves more to do with Meghan Markle's investigation that is still very much active over at Netflix. Now, it turns out that Netflix executives and producers discovered one of the worst examples yet of plagiarism by Meghan Markle that changed everything between Meghan Markle and Ted Sarandos, since this act of plagiarism was considered too serious to take lightly. Now, it turns out in episode 5 of season 2 for With Love Meghan, one of the actresses that had a major part in the episode was dressed up exactly like Pamela Anderson, wearing the same exact clothing, the hat, shirt, pants, and everything all together. And this wasn't her only appearance cooking alongside Meghan Markle. It turns out that this actress, cooking with Meghan, also appears in episode 7 wearing another copy of clothing from Pamela Anderson's show, of course, Cooking with Love, from her actual cooking series. Now, this caused Netflix executives and producers to go into a complete panic mode at last minute, after not even realizing how it was copied down to the T. This choice to copy Pamela's clothing style was Meghan Markle's idea, as it turns out, back when she held creative power for the entire series before it was stripped away, and just now, Netflix is catching on to her other shenanigans that took place back then. Now, Ted Sarandos, get this, was surprisingly very angry with Meghan Markle, since they believed that they caught on to the majority of things that had to be cut out of the series. Somehow they had missed this one big example of plagiarism by Meghan, and this actress was reportedly trained by Meghan Markle to also copy Pamela Anderson's mannerisms and hand gestures for both of those episodes. This is when an emergency meeting took place between the board, the CEOs, and even Meghan herself in the mix, where they all confronted her that all of these scenes are going to be deleted effective immediately. Of course, Meghan erupted with anger toward Ted Sarandos, surprisingly as well, where she claimed that he was purposely trying to sabotage her own show, and that nothing that she did copied or plagiarized Pamela Anderson and her series. All of these arguments reportedly went on for about 1 hour during the very intense emergency call, as they tried to organize a plan for the editing team to make a swift move to rearrange multiple scenes after taking these copies of Pamela Anderson out of the show, essentially. Now, guys, let me just stop there for one moment before I move on. Now, the thing about that is the fact that you have this actress that was instructed by Meghan Markle at the time to not only wear the same exact clothing as Pamela from her show, but to also act like her, the same exact hand gestures, same exact mannerisms, everything. And it really does mind-boggle me. How in the world did Netflix not catch on to this? How in the world did their team not actually, glance over this at all when they were scrubbing through all of the episodes and going through it frame by frame is beyond me. The fact that they caught on to this so late into the investigation over at Netflix, I don't know if it's incompetence or if it's just that they were lazy, who knows, but you would think that the experts, quote unquote, would have seen what exactly Meghan Markle was up to at the time in the early stages of really, going into this and really taking apart the show frame by frame. Now, again, this overall act that Meghan Markle got caught in changed everything over at Netflix, and the balance of power is completely shifting with Ted Sarandos now, beginning to shift away from Meghan Markle more and more. Now, look, we know that Ted Sarandos, and we've made this very clear, he's the one CEO that remained very supportive of Meghan Markle, whatever that she did, and so far, it's really beginning to become too much at this point, because now it's going to look bad on him. He's the one that allowed all this nonsense to quietly, flood its way into season 2, and now he looks like, an incompetent CEO, and one that is not only incompetent, but honestly, one that really is very, fraudulent in a way. That's how it comes across as. The fact that he actually allowed Meghan Markle to get away with this in the very beginning, we're all pretty much sure that he knew what Meghan Markle was up to. How could you not, essentially, right? Now, in addition to this Meghan Markle drama, essentially, she also put Ted Sarandos on the spot and shouted at him during the emergency call took place, and things got very ugly over at Netflix after Meghan was acting very defensive after getting caught doing one of the more serious acts of plagiarism. Now, Greg Peters and Ted Sarandos are now holding more creative arguments as we speak. So the fact that they are holding more creative arguments and agreements to kind of just come to an actual conclusion, right? What do we do? How do we patch the show? How do we re-edit this thing? How do we bring in the reshoots to properly make the story flow differently? That's all of the challenges that they are dealing with in real time. And again, we know that Meghan Markle, she is not only trying to really stay, where she is right now in Netflix. That's exactly why she was trying to cozy up to Ted Sarandos, begging him for a season 3, begging him for a contract renewal, and everything else in between. And it's just not working in her favor at all. So again, when you look back at all of this, we already know that Ted Sarandos, right? One of the worst CEOs out there. I think that he should be fired. I think that he should be replaced immediately by the board. The board needs to do something, right? They have to do something productive here, because if you keep Ted Sarandos, he's just going to do another Meghan Markle situation down the road with somebody else. And it just seems like he doesn't know what he's doing, essentially. Again, this is the same guy that made multiple calls to remove tons of beloved content off of Netflix while also raising rates, right? Raising prices at the same exact time and putting on more mediocre content on the actual platform. That's why people are leaving in droves. That's why people are going to other things like HBO Max or Peacock, whatever it may be out there. That's why people are just done with Netflix, and they are slowly shifting away at this point. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about this ongoing investigation over at Netflix. It is getting toward the tail end of it all. They've got pretty much everything at this point ahead of the release of season 2. It's going to be quite interesting to see how this ratings disaster is going to compare to the last one that took place back in March. Overall, I would love to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.